Hi, and welcome back to Geekified. I am Chris, and we are here to talk about another movie that's been out for a little bit. So if you're watching this review, you've either missed it in the cinema, unfortunately, or you're going to have it on release, and that is Everything Everywhere All at Once. Welcome back to Geekified. Hi, Nathan, how are you? Awesome. So we're talking about a movie called Everything Everywhere All at Once. And this is about a strange movie because we're talking about it. Chances are you haven't seen it. Chances are you haven't heard of it because it was a very strange release and a very small, limited release, the way everything happened. And I've talked about it to a few people, and nearly everyone that I spoke to about it didn't actually know about the movie at all. And anyone who I have seen it has had a very, very certain opinion about the film. So let's go over to you, Nathan. How are you? Good?
Yeah, man. This was this was a movie. I loved every single nanosecond of this film, and you know my feelings on these multiversal type things, and not the biggest fan of it in the world. I think it can lead to very lazy storytelling, which we've seen in other of these sort of movies. Doctor Strange. But this one, I think I said to you, I think this is the best movie I've seen about sort of like timelines and multiverse and stuff like that, probably since Donnie Darko, which is 20 years ago now. It's in
20 years now.
Yeah, I mean, it's at its core, it's a really simple story. It's about a woman and her daughter and her husband, and her, coming to accept them for what they are, accepting herself for what she is, and all this sort of stuff. A really simple premise for a story. And it just plays out basically in one building, well, two buildings, their shop and the tax office. Some phenomenal martial arts scenes in it, absolutely phenomenal. Some really silly, daft humor, amazing performances, some really cool ideas, and just, everyone talks about how in Doctor Strange the multiverse was in it for about 5 minutes, and they went through all these different multiverses. They did a similar sort of thing here, but it was just a much better way of doing it without all the big, with probably a tenth of the budget. I was absolutely blown away by it. Michelle Yeoh in the lead role was absolutely. I mean, I like her in most of the stuff she's in, but she was phenomenal in this. Yeah. Jamie Lee Curtis was great, absolutely great as the lady in the tax office, and I especially like the hot dog finger universe where they're sort of like lovers, and I thought it was a really touching.
We'll get into some of the weird, funny bits of all the different universes they're in that we said, but that was like absolutely hilarious. And if you haven't seen it, what can I explain a wee bit about it? Obviously, the whole multiverse idea that you've had with Doctor Strange is there's multiple universes where anything could have possibly happened. So in one of the universes, this is not a spoiler because it's partly in the trailer. If you are going to go and see it, this is just a little bit of information. There's a universe out there in which people with their fingers, there was people who had these hands, but there was also a variation of people who had hot dog-like hands, and the hot dog-like hands killed the people with normal hands, so they took over the Earth.
Well, the gorillas, wasn't it? The monkeys at the start.
Yeah, basically. So there's literally a world in where everything else is went normal, apart from him. He's got hot dog hands, and it is, honest to God, one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. I felt odd because I was laughing so hard.
Just like the ketchup and mustard's like spurting out the ends of some fingers, man.
Because it highlights the absolute hilarity of what can happen in these multiverse situations. And like you said, like there's not really been. I actually don't think there's been a movie who's done the multiverse and the actual concept of how ridiculous the idea of a multiverse actually is.
There's parts of this movie, it's not multiverse, but the film Existence, late 90s sci-fi film, Christopher Eccleston and what's her name? The other one. I can't remember the name.
Blonde girl. It's not Dunst.
I can't remember the names, banished from me at the moment. But there's bits of this that reminded me of that a little bit. I know that's to do with like them immersed in a game and stuff like that, but there's bits of this that definitely reminded me of that, which was a great movie as well. But yeah, I don't think if people don't enjoy this film, they don't like good cinema.
I genuinely, honestly think I'll tell you where I am with this. Like, this movie for me, when I walked out, I think I said I put a post on. We have a group, like a WhatsApp group, where we talk to people, to all the guys that's on this, and I basically said this has reassessed my top 3 movies of all time. So we're talking about this movie. I'm literally talking about now. It's now easily one of my top 3 movies of all time, because it's just there's certain movies you get that are heartwarming, funny, sci-fi, horror, and then there's this. This movie just managed to blend absolutely everything together and make everything absolutely perfect. It was just such a heartwarming story. It was hilarious. It was crazy. It was mental. It was some of the comedy in it was just some of the funniest comedy. It had amazing kung fu. Just I've never came. It's very, very rare I've come out away from a film and just sat back and went, that was incredible. That was actually incredible.
Did I was sort of thinking about it afterwards, and I sort of thought that the whole sort of sequence with the multiverses and stuff, with obviously the daughters, the main bad guy, Jaga, what was it? Jaga, I can't remember the name now. Anyway, whatever it was. I you know what? I wanted to write down the letters and see if I could figure out if it's an anagram or something, which I'm sure it probably is.
Yeah.
But I just sort of thought that, was it actually a multiverse, or was it the woman's sort of mind? Because I think it's a suggestion that maybe the daughter's tried to like do something to herself or something, and that's like the bad side of her coming out is this other person, the destructive side, and it's trying to like eradicate the universe, as in their universe. And then at the end, obviously, they have that sort of really heartfelt conversation at the car, and you're like, is that the point where they've sort of not made up? But that's, I sort of thought, well, maybe that whole bit, although it's in the movie, maybe it's like her imagination or something like that.
Yeah, I do get that. I mean, it's like it's such a hard movie to put into words. It genuinely is such a hard movie to put into words. Obviously, it is like the whole multiverse situation, but when you try to explain the story, it's almost so ridiculous. But when you boil it down, you strip it back, it's really, the whole story is about acceptance of yourself, acceptance of your family, and acceptance about who you are, and coming to those terms regardless of what that situation is. Obviously, it's very specific for the daughter, I think, because she's a lesbian and she's not found a way to come out to a Chinese granddad. Our mum obviously knows and she's not accepting it. And then obviously it's Chinese culture. It's trying to fit into the world in general. But it applies to absolutely everything. And a lot of the films you get these days are so forced with this idea. I mean, it is literally taken and it is shoved down your throat.
And everyone just automatically accepts it straight away, and that's it. Because
they don't particularly say that in this film. It's just there. It's just part of the story. And when I'm not joking. I was practically crying at the end. It was such a happy ending, and you just felt so good, and it makes you understand how. I mean, I think this was written by the Daniels as well. The Daniels are absolutely amazing writers.
I think as well. I mean, there's also that sort of plot with her and her husband, and obviously it all starts with him with the divorce papers. And then that whole thing, I thought was quite interesting as well, because it's all about, he didn't want to divorce her; he just wanted her to see him, as it were. And that's,
which is so predominantly sad. It was such a sad idea and such a sad part of the story.
And I love that bit where what's it they say? You're so bad at everything that you're good at the multiverse because you've tried everything before.
And that's it. That's the humor. That's honestly the humor in it is absolutely freaking excellent. And I mean, the Daniels are obviously the directors in this. Now, the Daniels, I don't think, are known for a great deal. They're probably more known for music videos. You'll know them for, I think it's DJ Snake was one of our first big breakthroughs. Down for What? That's actually off the top of my head. DJ Snake, Down for What? This.
That's about it.
that, and a couple of others. So there's other music videos that they've done, and then they went on to do Swiss Army Man.
Yes, Army Man was them, yeah.
Yeah, so Swiss Army Man, Daniel Radcliffe, Paul Dano, another bizarrely batshit crazy but excellent film.
Yeah, but very Marmite type movie. I think this film's been a bit more universally loved, whereas that movie got a lot of hate thrown towards it. Maybe people don't understand that, I don't know, but I loved it. But yeah, there's a lot of dark humor in that as well, you know.
Yeah, I think Swiss Army Man has a lot of cultures in its release. People don't like a lot dealing with death and bodies and stuff like that, which I think is a massive issue of that story. I think you have to take it.
I mean, on both movies are sort of, I've talked about, examined that sort of mental health sort of part of it as well, obviously, because Swiss Army Man, Paul Dano's obviously a bit troubled. And in this one, it deals with sort of the mother to a certain respect as well, but definitely the daughter's sort of mental health and stuff like that is definitely a predominant sort of theme running through this movie.
Yeah, I mean, but given what they've done previously, going from, is this like a key to good directors? Because that's quite a lot of directors that I know now that have went from starting off doing music videos and moving themselves into movies, and when they have done, they come up with some of the most beautiful shots. They come up with some of the most stylized pieces. Some of the sets that they work with are absolutely stunning. Do you think this is partly to do with the fact that these guys are coming from music video industry where everything has to be impactful, quick, and different?
Well, Guy Ritchie famously started in music videos, didn't he? Did My Favorite Game, I think, was him. From Cardigans, I'm pretty sure, and a few other ones as well. And I can't remember the name of the guy who famously did The Prodigy, Smack My Bitch Up. I can't remember who he was as well. He went into movies as well.
But the movies yeah, I think are amazing.
I think it's got to. I think where sometimes they can let themselves down is a bit of style over substance. So I think the script's super important, which I think this is a fantastic script in this movie. Sometimes I can't remember who it was now, but I did watch a movie more recently, or a TV show more recently, which was directed by somebody who'd come from music videos, and it was just it looked stunning, but it was just not a great movie.
So you still need to get a good script. I mean, another one I can think of off the top of my head actually is Joseph Kahn, who if anyone's seen a single Taylor Swift music video, even if you like it, you don't like her, or you do like her, it doesn't matter. If you watch his music videos, they are visually stunning. They are unbelievably shot with some of the most depth and precision, with some shots you could ever imagine in your life. He went on to do a short film which fundamentally ended up forward footing the Power Rangers movie. He did Power / Rangers, and then it was made into the Power Rangers, a movie that we know and hate today. Only if they actually continued and followed what Joseph Kahn did in that movie and made the movie that triggered it, Power Rangers would probably be on its third sequel by now, and it would be excellent. It's like a modern Star Wars looking kind of sci-fi thing in space. It would be great.
Although, I mean, as long as he doesn't copy what the girl's done in Obi-Wan Kenobi, he'll be all right.
Oh, I know. We've not actually done a review on Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I don't know if it's going to happen because I'm going to have to put a fire hose on most of the boys on this, because I'm not right. As anyone who watches this show, I'm not a big Star Wars fan in general. I do like it. I watch it and I enjoy it, but I am not a big fan. So I've not actually watched it yet. I'm going to have to force myself and go through just so I can get on board with the slagging.
Definitely.
See, it's not looking good.
I think they just tried to reinvent the wheel a little bit. Star Wars has got a quick aside. Star Wars has got a look and a way that things have always been shot. And I mean, fair play to I can't remember, Deborah Cho, I think it is. Has directed it all, and she's tried to make it look a bit different. And it's got a lot of the sort of hand cam, shaky camera. It doesn't work. Doesn't really work with too much close ups and stuff. Doesn't really work for Star Wars.
Well, I'm going to watch it, and at least if none of the other guys are into doing it, then obviously we can get more of a stylish review and kind of break it down a wee bit, and we can go into the cinematography and stuff. But the other thing that gets me on this movie, I think, I want to discuss is the budget. This obviously is a £25 million budget, and this is A24 films. Now, you might know A24 films for things like The Green Knight. I forgot the boy's name, who was excellent in it.
The one from Slumdog.
Skins as well, he was in.
Dev Patel.
Dev Patel, God, that's terrible. Absolutely great actor, really, really good actor. And Green Knight was really, really good. It was Marmite film. I really enjoyed it. Not like it now. I didn't think it. I'm not saying it was excellent or anything like that. I said it was a good watch. It was very stylish and it looked good when I came out, so I thought it was all right.
I think £25 million is obviously for them it's quite a big budget. For a sort of big action movie, it's not a big budget, and I think they spent it really well. You know, I think you could have easily have put a 60 million budget on this and not been surprised. You know, I think they've done a really good shot with the action scenes and stuff. Especially, a lot of it's very sort of close up, and most of it takes place in one floor. Yeah. But it's at least it's fantastic. The bit I loved was the bit when Jamie Lee Curtis jumps off over the banister with her, and she went about to knee her in the face, and they got it slowed right the way down, and got it all the way almost to her face, and then manages to block it. Yeah. And she says she loves her and means it.
But Jamie Lee Curtis in this, oh my God, she's actually brilliant. And one of the things that Jamie Lee Curtis talked about, she's very body positive for women. And one of the things that she discussed before this movie came out, and she openly talks about it, is the fact that that's her body, that's her figure. They don't put any different things on it. She just said, let me just be me. She's a dowdy older woman who just hates her job, and she thinks just being able to dress and let everything hang out is probably going to suit the character. Well done, because it did. It was perfect.
It really did. It really did.
You've got another I'm going to be terrible if I pronounce his name right. Is Kwan, which everybody is going to know and love, because this is the first movie he's made in years.
Rather Data or Short Round, didn't he? Where I said to you, look, it's Data from. You went, no, it's Short Round from. I checked, and they're both the same guy.
No, it's Short Round. Indiana Jones, man. He's like, no, it's Data.
Yeah.
Back, and I'm sorry, he was absolutely excellent. He really
I love the way he flipped between the sort of weedy husband and the kick-ass guy from the other universe, and he even slightly changed his voice and the way he spoke. He become much more sort of American, as the cool guy, and then the other, and I thought he was phenomenal. And I was watching, thinking, I know that voice, and then it just suddenly clicked at one point, and it was Data from.
I would say it was the first scene, when he does these bum bags, or anyone who's in America, your fanny pack, and when he takes that and he's swinging that about, that's when I went, that's bloody Short Round from Indiana Jones. I was like, oh my God.
That is awesome when he was hitting people across the head with that bloody fanny pack.
We don't even need to mention Michelle Yeoh. We don't even need to mention her. Everything she's in is outstanding. Everything she does is excellent. Every performance she even graces her presence with, and she is just a goddess of acting for me. She's absolutely excellent. And the last thing
Pinky Kung Fu kicks ass, by the way.
But you need to watch it if you want to know what that's about. But everything she's in, and just a good shout out to her for when she was in Star Trek. That was honestly, I don't know, you didn't watch Discovery. She's unbelievable. I know you haven't seen it, but she's unbelievable at the character in Discovery. She's really good. You really enjoy it, don't you?
Star Trek, it's not very
good. Almost as precious.
No, I can lie. I like Next Generation, but that was about it.
Yeah. And another character I need to talk about is James Hong. That's the dad. James Hong is one of those faces. It doesn't matter what age you are, you're going to know him from something. He's that stereotypical go-to Chinese character that you put in a film at any age. And he's been, Big Trouble in Little China is always my one that I remember him from, because he terrified the shit out of me in that movie. Absolutely haunting. That's I always remember him in that.
He got that great voice, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. He's incredible. He's such a great performer.
The bit when he knocks that girl through the wall with his wheelchair, I was absolutely howling laughing. Absolutely howling laughing at it.
So what is it? What do you think? What's your favourite scene of the whole movie?
I thought the big kung fu sequence was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. The one in the middle when it was sort of going through that bit, and she was flipping in and out and learning different things, and then coming back in, and I thought that was done so well. But I don't know; it's difficult to say what the best. I think I liked them all. So, but I do think that was probably. I know you're going to say some weird thing with the sausage fingers, but for me that and then that's the big fight. It was about what 15-minute long fight in the middle of the movie. I thought was my favorite. That was the best sort of. It's as good as a John Wick kung fu sequence, which is a massive compliment to anything.
Easily. It's got that John Wick feel about it. The way that it's how well it's stylized.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Like, I think she was a little bit overshadowed. But her performance as a character is, I don't know how to pronounce her second name again. Sorry for my ignorance of not knowing a lot of Chinese. Stephanie, it's either Sue or Hugh, as the daughter. She was excellent as well. I don't want to go away without saying some of these standout characters because
with the two sides to it as the character as well. You had the super Machiavellian, evil, ultra confident version of her, and then this other version of her who, it's just quite interesting how how that bit. I love the way they sort of explained really well how all these other people became like they were in the other universes. There was no need for it. Was like a 20-second thing. This is why this happened, and there were so many of these things branched off from that one point. Either the point when her father told her that the guy wasn't good enough for her. Everything happened from that point was where the main branch was, or just when they get to America, and that's when other branches were. And I thought it was really interesting that they did it like that. Because most of this, other than the only other one where the sausage fingers was because of the monkeys. We saw that.
That was definitely my favourite.
And then the bit when she falls over and loses her eye. But apart from that, everything stemmed from that one scene when it's her leaving China or not leaving China, which I thought was really quite interesting.
It's genius. I mean, it's like so many movies go so deep just to explain some stuff, and this again, how clever these guys are. They explain it in seconds. They literally give you a quick brief summary of how this all goes. They obviously go back to it occasionally because it's part of the story, but as a summary, you get it like that. It's so quick.
Yeah.
£25 million, and they've got 80 million, and that's without on demand yet.
Yeah, you imagine on demand. I think it's one of these ones that'll end up being a bit one of these sort of sleeper hits, if you like. That'll end up kind of a cult classic. Things like I don't know, Donnie Darko was like that, and back in the day, Brick was like that. Things like that. Even going back, like if you're talking about really like top movies. I mean, Shawshank was that way back in the day. And I think it's going to be one of those sort of things. I mean, it's made a profit, and they didn't spend much in marketing, so that 25 million.
I mean, you're easily, I think it's 25 years, it's 1995, 1996 or something like that.
It could be, I can't remember.
Yeah, this is really, really, really old, because I'm sure I was only about 15, 16 when it came out. And that's still so relevant today on its time travel and the story and the plot. I mean, I literally just bought a pin badge from a company called Digital Suicide, who did a bunny of Frank, which I'll pop up on the screen now, just so you can see it, because it's absolutely excellent. I don't think he's got any left, but honestly, check out Digital Suicide, by the way. Shout out, absolutely great place.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's up there for me. And like you said, I mean, I'm one of these people. I'm wary about calling things top 3, top 5 movies for all time for me, because I watch so many movies. I tend to sort of compartmentalize them a little bit. But I would say it's definitely probably top 10 in the last 4 or 5 years for me. I think, and it stuck in my head for 4, 5, 6 days after I watched it, which is always a great sign of a good movie. I was thinking about it constantly.
For me, it's that feeling. There's a feeling you know what happens when you leave. And when I left that cinema, I went to the GFT. It was practically empty. It wasn't empty. It was a big cinema, and it was maybe half full. And that feeling when I left was a buzz, pure buzz. I left.
I saw it at the Curzon in London, which is obviously quite a big independent cinema, and there's no more than about 20 or 30 people in for it. And I think it's bizarre. But the thing is, I've read a few reviews, and it's got nothing but good reviews, this movie so far. I did have a look. I know that just after it came out, it was at like 91%, I think, on Rotten Tomatoes at one point. And
if you don't like it, you just don't get it. That's the way I would say it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think people will probably say it's a bit daft and a bit this and a bit that, but it's sort of supposed to be. I think it's sort of poking fun a little bit at the Hollywood multiverse stuff that's coming, because everything's got it coming now in some way, shape, or form. It's only going to get worse because it's a way of Marvel and DC making a lot of money. And I just think that, like I said to you, I didn't know until the very end that the Russo brothers were producers on it.
Yeah, I knew they were there, and I genuinely thought they had the budget that they got. Although Green King must have had a decent budget because it's quite a big movie in that sense. But I was wondering if maybe the Daniels got the money for this on the basis of the Russo brothers being behind them. Not 100%. If you've got the Russo brothers got your back, then chances are you're going to get a few more.
And it just shows you. I mean, I would say obviously their time with Marvel has come to an end now. So maybe this is the sort of thing they're going to try and do a bit more of, which is great for big filmmakers like that to go back and give some funding or give some influence or some help to some like up and coming filmmakers to make some really, really quality, like good quality, fantastic movies. Because so many people don't do that. And so I'm sort of hoping that I don't know much about the production company other than I've seen the logo a few times. I don't know if they're involved in it or something. I don't know, but
they're involved
I think
in quite a lot of. Have a look. You'll see the type of movies they do. It's always slightly. It's always a bit.
I just hope that they carry on doing this sort of thing, and when they get really good scripts and stuff like that coming through, that they continue to help out these people make these great movies, because movies like this, you go to a big studio, they wouldn't make it.
Exactly,
which is really a really sad thing,
Yeah, so whoever was involved in getting this up there, if it was you, amazing Russo brothers, obviously Daniels would have wanted it to be there because they're the directors and I think the writers. Sorry if it's not. I don't know what way to be rude and check it again, but everyone involved in this movie, I cannot see a single fault in this film. It was practically perfect for me, and well done. Like I said, you're gaining one of my top three. I watch a decent amount of movies, and you've gained one of my top three positions. I'm still not certain on where it is, but I'm going to have to watch it a couple more times.
What's the other two?
Incendies.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
And the other one, you won't like because it's more of a nostalgic thing for me. It's Hudson Hawk with Bruce Willis.
Oh, I forgot about Hudson Hawk. Yeah. It's all right, but yeah.
It's probably nostalgia for me because it was one of the first movies that I ever properly filmed.
People always ask me that, what's your top three movies, and I just find it so impossible to.
Yeah, it depends. There's a lot depends on how you're feeling, what kind of mood you're in, what kind of type of movie you're looking for. But for me, I've kind of got I've definitely got a list of about 20, and that's definitely my top three. And that's Everything Everywhere All at Once is definitely in there.
I do have a few movies that I would say that are up there, with my top like probably top 10, 15. But I like I said, I try not to, and then I go and watch something like I watched before, and it moves my list around a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, like Top Gun Maverick.
No, not so much. But like every now and again, I watch something. Like I watched The Godfather Part 1 and 2 again a couple of weeks ago, and then that just moves you. As soon as you watch that again, you just realize what an amazing piece of filmmaking that is, especially for the time it was made.
Yeah.
And that just moves it all back around again.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You're literally getting the biggest thumbs up possible from me, and you're getting a seriously good thumbs up from Nathan as well. That's Everything Everywhere All at Once. I just want to say, anyone who even remotely seen this movie, if you haven't seen it, sorry, you will enjoy this, and I absolutely implore you to go and see this, or download it, or put it on whenever it comes out. Please remember to hit the like and subscribe button as well before this video finishes, please. Even give you a second right now. It's just there. Yeah, you did it. Thank you, please. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us, Nathan.
No problem.
We'll be back again soon, and we can do this all day.